So, hi all. Welcome to our very first podcast called Relearn Languages. And we are starting this podcast to let everyone know a little bit more insight about the Foreign Language Department and different languages we offer and different opportunities that also goes with these different languages. So today, for our first interviewee, we have the lovely Miss Emily Ferris, who is an alumni of UNA from the class of 2019. She received her degree in double majoring in communications and Spanish, and she also is the 2019 recipient of the Outstanding Global Lion Award. And currently, Emily works for the Department of International Affairs, and she is working as their Latin America program assistant. And that is very interesting to me. So I will definitely be asking her some questions about her position that she has now. But starting us off, I would like to ask you, Emily, why did you choose to pursue Spanish as a degree?
Well, hi, Janae. Thank you so much for having me today. This is so cool to come back and talk to the Foreign Language Department. But I chose Spanish, or chose to pursue Spanish, firstly because it was kind of always a part of my life. I don't know if you know, but my mom is from Guatemala, and so growing up, I got to hear her speak Spanish. Our family would come visit, and it was always something that was just really appealing to me because I saw not just the way that she was able to communicate with our family, but the way that she was also able to communicate and kind of be an ambassador for her language and culture in so many ways and able to connect with so many other people. And that was really appealing to me and something that I definitely wanted to continue in my own life.
Yeah, for sure. I didn't know that about you actually, so
Oh,
that's very
really?
yeah. The next question I have for you is what are you doing with your degree? And so I mentioned earlier that you are the Latin America program coordinator. So can you tell me a little bit of what that entails?
Definitely. So, like you said, I'm at the Office of International Affairs right now, still hanging out at UNA for a bit. And honestly, the job itself kind of consists of a lot of different aspects, but my main job, I guess, is to follow up with UNA Latin American partners. And so, because we have a lot of international partnerships that, for recruiting international students, and so I work on keeping them up to date and developing new partnerships. But a lot of that also consists of doing recruitment presentations and talking to schools in other countries. But then it also includes like some, designing marketing materials or videos. And so what I really like about it is that it's kind of a mix of things, which is really why I double majored with these two areas to begin with, hoping that it would offer some flexibility because I was pretty undecided on like what area specifically I wanted to work in.
Yeah. Well, the job you have now seems like it's the perfect mesh of both of your majors. And that's very interesting because I think a lot of students don't really know like what entails into getting international students. And so I think it's cool that you have to sometimes speak to different countries, appealing to get international students to come here. So I think that's very cool.
Definitely, and it's still, even whenever I started here, I didn't even really know the whole process of how that works. So it's been really interesting to see kind of the ins and outs um, of this industry, I guess.
Yeah. Well, since you've graduated with a degree in Spanish, and I imagine that in your current job, you're still having to use a little bit of Spanish or maybe speak um, some Spanish in your presentations that you give. So, what was your favorite thing about studying Spanish here at UNA, and what is currently still your favorite thing about studying the language?
Oh man, I mean, honestly, what's not to love about the department?
True, yes.
Yeah, I think for me, it wasn't just having like great courses where I was able to learn, but I think for me, like the thing that really stands out about learning Spanish here, or really any, foreign language here, is
Mm-hmm.
just community. And, being in smaller class sizes, in kind of a smaller department, you're able to get to know your classmates and your professors so much better. And for me, that was really important. One, because it made me really comfortable in the classroom as I'm having to learn to speak and write and all of these things that can be kind of nerve wracking sometimes. But,
Yeah.
like since we all get to know each other a lot better, like my professors were really able to point me in the right direction, or, so many times during the time that I was a student, they would say, "Hey, Emily, like I saw this opportunity that looks like it would be a great fit for you," or "Hey, I know you're into communications. What if you tried to help us out with our social media?" And they're able to really guide you in a direction that's going to help. Not just me, but I feel like they do that with every student, and I think you don't always get that everywhere. So that's something that really stands out to me.
Yeah, that's great. And I agree with you that the smaller class sizes really helps because with learning a new language, you can kind of be timid speaking it if if you don't really think you sound good, or there are certain things you critique about yourself, and so having that smaller um, class size and more intimate connection, that really helps.
Definitely. I think it just makes all the difference sometimes.
Yeah, that's true. So I've heard you have been on a couple of study abroad experiences. Am I right?
Yes, that's correct. I've been very fortunate to have some great experiences abroad so far.
Okay, that's cool. What places did you go to?
Well, with foreign languages specifically, I was able to go on the 2018 study abroad to Salamanca, Spain. It was for
Okay.
a month long. And then besides
Oh
that,
wow.
yeah, so it's a really, really great exposure. I would totally recommend that trip to anybody and everybody. Honestly, one of the best experiences of my life.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then I'm trying to think. Besides that, I did an internship in Guatemala. I was able to do some English teaching in Mexico. So over the past few years, trying to just diversify my experience and learn more Spanish and learn more about different countries.
Yeah, that's great. And I was wondering, what were some of your experiences like there? Like, what were some challenges you encountered, and what were some things that came easier to you in each country? And since knowing um, each country is different, so I'm sure the Spanish changed slightly as well. Um, did you
Definitely.
find that? Yeah, did you find that difficult, or was that easier for you to catch on after practicing it for so long? Or can you speak a little bit on that?
Yeah, definitely. Well, you're totally right. I think everybody that speaks Spanish, kind of agrees that depending on where you are, depending on the different country, and even within the country itself, sometimes there's a lot of variations in the language. And so it's funny that you mentioned that because, like I said, I grew up, my mom is from Guatemala, and so I was very used to Guatemalan Spanish. And so then going to Spain, and, I'm 19 years old, I guess, and never really heard that accent, never heard the different words they use. Sometimes I
Yeah.
was confused whenever I was there. Like I'd never heard the vosotros tense, never heard a lot of these things, and so it was really interesting to be there. And of course, we're at on this trip we're at a language school every day with Spanish professors. We're going to excursions, visiting other cities, mingling with Spanish people. So we're just hearing Spanish 24/7.
Just
Spanish.
getting ingrained in your brain.
Exactly. So, but it was so interesting because even with that being the same language, it was so different to me. But at the same time, being there a month, like I was able to catch on to so much. And I feel like now, if I was talking to somebody from Spain, it would be a lot easier for me to understand and to relate to them than if I hadn't gone on that trip.
Yeah, that's great. Um, how do you feel like you've changed from your experiences in every place you've traveled? So I know you said in Mexico you taught a little bit, right?
Yes, that's correct. I taught English for a nonprofit that was there, and I also did some media work as well, so it was still kind of a mix of things going on.
Oh, wow, that's so cool.
I
Do
mean,
you feel
obviously
like,
it's out there, so I think it's just finding it.
yeah, do you feel like helping you teach English helped you almost learn the English language more and helped you understand Spanish a little bit more as well?
Oh yeah, for sure. Well, I think for one, learning Spanish, it made me a lot more empathetic to my students.
Oh, yeah.
And so, because it's like, okay, I get it. Learning the language can be hard. You can be nervous to talk. There's a lot of things going on there. But I think whenever you have to teach something, you're definitely learning as well, right?
Yeah, for
So
sure.
it's funny because it's one of those things. It's like, I'm going here to learn, and I feel like the more I learn, the less I realize, or the more I realize that I don't know.
Yeah, yeah, of course.
Yeah,
Yeah.
pushing you in a very healthy way.
Yes. Were there any fears that you had to overcome while you were abroad? And whether this be about the language or um, just about being away from home. Like, I don't know if you've ever been abroad before you went on these trips, but was there anything in particular that you were nervous about before going abroad?
Oh yeah, I mean, just those things that you mentioned. I remember even, and it's not like I'd never traveled before. I'd gone to
Yeah.
Guatemala, clean up, had the opportunity to go out of the country before, and I don't know why, but right before I went to Spain, and of course this is something that I'd been planning on for months. But I
Mm-hmm.
remember on the plane ride over there, I was just so nervous, and I was like, oh, what have I done? Like, I was like, I'm gonna get there. It's gonna be so hard to talk to people. Like, what if my host family doesn't like me? What if I,
Yeah.
what if I can't communicate and I don't make friends? And, honestly, every single one of those things, the opposite was true. And, like, I ended up with the most amazing host family that I still talk to now. Actually,
Oh, wow, that's great.
yes, it's one of those things uh, that I just never planned on. And, it's really cool because I was really worried about that trip. And then, I made like two of my best friends in the world on that trip. And the next year, we went to Salamanca ourselves just to go back and visit our host families. And because we loved it so much,
Really nice.
you know?
Yeah.
So I think it's one of those things that, yes, there was definitely a lot of fears there. There was a lot of like nervousness. But I mean, you can ask like anybody that went there. Like the last day came and none of us wanted to leave. Like we had just gotten so much from that trip, I think. And I'll say personally, I think having those experiences has changed me for the better in every way. The
For
just
sure.
culture, learning the language, confidence with the language, and also just getting to know another culture, and being able to become more open minded and relate to other people so much better.
Yeah, and I bet whenever the last day came for y'all to leave, I'm sure y'all weren't wanting to go home. So you're like, I'm just now, um,
getting the hang of everything. I'm just now knowing what to say and knowing the best
Yeah,
places to go.
exactly. Yeah, we were just on the last day. It's like you can't make us leave. Like it feels so right now. Like we've become almost like a little family, and we come to love this place so much. But yeah, that's why I would just recommend it to anybody. Any student, honestly, but especially for foreign language students, I would say it's almost necessary to get those experiences.
Yeah, and like you said, it definitely, I feel like, will help your Spanish grow once you're immersed in a culture. And all you have is Spanish. There's no default other language.
Absolutely. I mean, it's kind of sink or swim in a way. But
Yeah.
it does, I mean, and that kind of sounds scary maybe, but it's really not because you're learning when you don't even realize you're learning. I think doing those kind of experiences, even like that 1 month in Spain or like that 1 month in Guatemala, pushed me to fluency that probably wouldn't have happened if I just stayed here the entire time.
Yeah. Well, you've had so many great experiences, but what is your favorite memory from traveling from each of the places? If you have one,
Oh,
there
yeah.
might be too many to pick from, or
Oh,
you
man.
might
I
have
think
just
that's
loved them all.
yeah, I mean, it's so hard to narrow it down because each place has just been such a unique experience and met so many great people and visited so many cool places. Um, I think, something that really stands out is we were talking about um, like the last day in Spain, right? All of us, like I said, we just had such an amazing time. We were like, oh, we don't want to go back. And but our professors kind of planned like for us to have one last free day together before we had to go back, and so which was different because our schedule was usually pretty packed with all kinds of activities. So it was
Yeah.
nice to have like one last day to hang out, and we went like on there's like a little river. We went like paddle boating. We got ice cream, and then we ended up. Um, there were some of us that were musicians, and I brought my guitar because that's just I'm not going to go there for a month and not take it. And
Yeah.
I had brought it with me, and we ended up just like chilling on the steps outside of the Plaza Mayor, like the main square, I guess there.
Yeah.
Ended up just like playing guitar and having the funnest little jam session together. We were singing in Spanish and English, and that's probably one of my favorite memories looking back because it just kind of wraps up the entire experience.
Yeah. That sounds so much fun. So, did you learn any like um Spanish songs whenever you were there to play on guitar?
Actually, yeah. Well, there was this guy. This is really random. But whenever I was there, I was like, because Spanish guitar, they have like a very specific
Yeah.
style, and I was like, oh, it would be so cool to learn that while I'm there. And I met this guy who was a performer there. He plays guitar, and he would play like on this bridge, and it sounded so amazing. And so he had mentioned that he took lessons, and I was like, oh, I'd love to meet you one day and do that. And so I
Yeah.
did and got to learn. I mean, I'm not a pro by any means, but got to learn a little bit of the Spanish style guitar from a Spanish guy, a Spanish guitar player there. So that was really really cool to experience also.
Oh yeah, that sounds super fun. I know that's gonna be a memory that you'll always have.
Oh yeah, yeah, it was really cool.
And I do have one final question for you. So I am a big admirer of food. So what was your favorite dish from each country that you visited, or what was your favorite snack, or just what did you really enjoy about the food?
Oh man. Um,
I know that's a loaded question, but I have to know.
that's so funny. Also that was another thing I was really nervous about going because I've always kind of been a picky eater, and going like every every place I went, I really loved the food. I know, like in Guatemala, of course, I had a lot of like fruit that was just so good. Like fruits I didn't even know existed, and then like they were a thing there. That was really good. Like fried plantain, of course.
Yes, that's one of my favorites as well.
Really.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then also like even Mexico being so close to us, like I've never tried a lot of like typical Mexican food. And
Yeah.
so, getting to try like different peppers or different I was and also like learned like the recipes and stuff there too, which is really cool. Like coming back to be able to cook for other people also.
Oh yeah, that's nice. So, were you ever able to cook with your host family some?
I did a little bit, yeah, with my host mom in Spain, which was cool because actually, even though she's living in Spain, she was from Costa Rica.
Okay.
Yeah, so sometimes she would kind of have like mixed foods going on. Like sometimes she would cook something that was more Spanish, or sometimes she would just cook like a little variety. But I definitely always tried to help her out and see what was going on. Try to learn, and also practicing Spanish in the process as much as possible.
Yeah. Well, that's great. That's all the questions I have for you, Emily. Is there anything else you would like to share with us, or?
I mean, it's been great to talk to you. I could talk about this all day long because it's something I'm just so passionate about.
Yeah.
But for any like current students or even recent graduates, like wherever you are in life, like I would just say like don't hesitate.
Right.
Opportunity is there, and I mean, granted, right now it's really different situation because of COVID and everything. I know there's not really study abroad trips and stuff going on, so hopefully that can change very soon. But I would say like if you have any kind of hesitations about traveling abroad or learning a language, if you try it, like all that hesitation will go away. And the opportunity is there. I mean, language is one of those things that is really useful in any industry. You can combine it with everything. So, yeah, just go for it, I guess.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Emily, for sharing your experiences with us. It was great to hear about it.
Well,
And you
so
just
much for having me.
Yeah, you just inspired me to. I've always wanted to do study abroad, but hopefully, whenever everything calms down, they'll be able to have study abroad trips again, and I'll be able to go on one or seek one out. So thank